When it comes to the Islamization of Europe, there are many people who think that it's too late, that there's no going back, that this cannot be fixed. And many people who do provide some solutions and are trying to save their countries as they should be, they are talking about how to stop the migration, which they should be, and their solutions regarding the already existing amount of Islamization in Europe are missing in many of these discussions. Many of the people are trying to figure out how to stop the damage when it comes to more people with garbage values coming to Europe and being a threat to the Western civilization. Not just Europe, I'm talking also about Canada and United States and Australia and New Zealand, all of these countries. Many people keep talking about how we need to stop the migration, stop the damage, but they don't really provide much of a solution for the problem that already exists, especially the people who are already citizens now in these Western countries. And many people assume that there's not much that you could do about it. I'm going to give you the solution. I'm going to tell you that there's a lot that you could do about that as well. And some of them are extreme, but extreme problems require extreme solutions. So some people are going to get offended by this. I understand that. And if nobody gets offended by this, that shows that the solution that I'm offering is not extreme. And if it's not extreme, it's probably not going to work. Again, remember, we're talking about threats to entire civilizations, the best civilizations on Earth. And you need to provide a solution that offends many people. And if you don't see offense, that means that you're not going far enough. My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with years of activism against the Islamic Republic. I am somebody basically from a country that has lost its civilization and it's lost its nation to Islam 47 years ago, and we Iranian people are working very hard and paying huge prices for it as to try to regain back our country. As Iranians who are fighting back against the Islamic Republic, when we tell Western civilization, Western countries, that you need to take this threat seriously is because we have paid a huge price for the unity between left and Islam, and us as a society paying for not fighting back hard enough against that threat with our entire nation and entire civilization. I'll start with the obvious parts when it comes to the migration. These are the things that people obviously suggest and they agree with me on. And then I'll tell you at the end the more extreme measures that I honestly don't think it's extreme, but I'm pretty sure many people will be offended by this. But once I go through what we do with migration, I'll go through what we have to do with the existing problem, especially the people who are already citizens. First, let me make something very clear. I'm not against migration. Migration is a net positive if it's limited, if it's legal, and if it has extreme filters, and if it's based on specific needs. But before I even talk about those filters, I think the first thing we need to do is end all migration from Islamic countries. We're going to have migration from other places, but Islamic country migration from those countries need to be zero. And I understand that this might seem harsh. Some people say just have extreme filters. Why would you have zero migration from Islamic countries? Because there's no filter that could be aggressive enough to adjust for the risk associated from bringing migration from Islamic countries. Here's the pushback against this. Are there people within Islamic countries who are deserving of being allowed into Western countries? Yes, of course. But when a plane is going down, they always tell you that you need to put a mask on yourself first before you put the mask on the children. You need to take care of your civilization first before you take care of other people, before you think about helping other people. You cannot help other people if your civilization falls. There are going to be many innocent people who are going to be unfairly filtered out, unfairly blocked from coming to your countries, from these Islamic countries. But I suggest that given how bad the situation is right now, we can't take any risks. Some people will tell me, Armin, you yourself came from an Islamic country. Iran is not an Islamic country. Iran is the most anti-Islamic country in the world. And the Iranian people have the best values, most aligned with Western values. In fact, I think many Iranian people understand the importance of these Western values, these Enlightenment values, more than many people in the West, because the Iranian people are fighting for exactly those values and they're dying for it, and they understand the importance of it because they had it before the Islamic Revolution of 1979 and they've lost it and they can see the difference. But even if I did come from an Islamic country, I will still argue for this. Just because I benefited from something, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and argue for it just because I benefited from it. If it's a threat to Western civilization, then it's a threat to Western civilization, regardless of whether or not I benefited from it. The way I see the people who would be deserving of coming to the West from Islamic countries, but we are not allowing it because of the extreme measures that we're taking, is that imagine if there's an army coming at your castle and you're closing the gates before the army arrives. The way I see all the people from Islamic countries who would be deserving of coming to the West, but we're not allowing it, is this. Imagine there's an army coming at your castle and you're closing down the gates before the army arrives. But you also see that there are many innocent people that are trying to run towards the castle to get inside before the gate closes. You notice, based on the speed that the army is coming at you, that if you don't close the gate right now, the army will make it in. So you end up closing the gates, even though you could see many innocent people are trying to make it in. By closing the gates, they're going to be at the mercy of this barbarian army arriving, but you close the gate anyways because you need to protect the people who are inside. So this is unfortunate for the innocent people who are trying to make it in, but your priority is to protect the people who are inside the castle. So that's the first thing you do. You close the gates. You have zero migration from all Islamic countries. For the migration that you do have, you make it limited and you increase the filters and you make them very extreme and you make it based on values as well, not just skills, values. You need to have psychological tests that checks if people's values align with Western values. And I know this filter will never be perfect. People lie. I know people lie. But just because people lie does not mean that you should not have that filter for values. And this filter for values could become even more extreme if it requires proof of alignment with Western values rather than just claims. Proof. So something in their record, something in their volunteer work, something in their activism that shows that their values are aligned with the West. And also there needs to be an investigation of anything that shows that their values are not aligned with the West. Then it's an immediate no. So any post on social media, any participation in the Free Palestine protest, anything like that would be an immediate red flag and you're out. And again, remember, this is not perfect, but it needs to be there. And the fact that you already have zero migration from Islamic countries makes this easier to handle because the budget for the investigation, for this person's records, for this person's participation, for this person's comments will be cheaper to handle, because if you had to investigate all the people who are coming from Islamic countries, then this will be very costly. But by removing the migration from Islamic countries, now figuring out who has something in their record that shows any contradiction between what they stand for and Western values will become a lot easier, and you could investigate every individual a lot more. So that's with migration. Let's now go to the people who are here but are not citizens, and then we'll get to the citizens. First of all, anybody from Islamic countries who are in Western countries who are not citizens should be deported immediately. And again, I know politicians today are not going to do this. I'm telling you what the solution is, regardless of whether or not anybody would do this. This is how it's done. Anybody from Islamic countries who are not citizens in Western countries, deported immediately. Then after that, anybody in Western countries who are not citizens with any signs of having values that are not aligned with the West, deported immediately. So you already got rid of all the people who came from Islamic countries who are not citizens. But now you need to deport all the people who came from also non-Islamic countries who have values with any signs that they have values that is not aligned with the West. Anybody who ever said Free Palestine, immediately deported. Anybody who ever participated in a Palestinian cause protest, ever, deported immediately. Anybody that ever stepped foot in a mosque that we have marked as suspicious, deported immediately. And remember, people who came from Islamic countries have already been deported. I'm talking about people with these values that came from other places. So this is how we get rid of the non-citizens with garbage values, with an inferior culture to Western culture. Now let's go to citizens. And this is where usually people stop and think it's over, you're done, there's nothing that you could do with citizens. Once you're a citizen, we're stuck with them. Not necessarily. So let's first talk about all the people who became citizens in Western countries by doing a test and taking an oath. All of those people, you investigate them. If there's any signs of lack of alignment with Western values, and remember, when I talk lack of alignment, I'm mostly focusing on people with Islamic values or leftist, woke, progressive values. Anybody that took an oath and has any signs that they hold these values should be denaturalized based on the idea that they lied under oath. And I know in Western countries, the legal framework does not allow you to do that in many of these countries. But here's a suggestion. Change the law. These laws came from somewhere, and these laws were written by man, and it can be changed by man. Remember, I'm not under the illusion that this is going to happen. I don't think the politicians have the balls to even push for something like this, but I'm just telling you what it takes. You change the laws so that anybody who's already a citizen, who has these garbage values, can be denaturalized with the understanding that they were never citizens to begin with because they lied under oath. So you denaturalize them, then you deport them. Okay, so now let's get to the extreme measures that I'm talking about. So here's how that would work. First of all, we need to ban homeschooling. And I know a lot of people are concerned about that because they think that they don't want to send their children to school, that they're being brainwashed by woke garbage. So before we ban homeschooling, we need to fix that. We need to make it illegal for your education system to brainwash your children with leftist woke nonsense. So that should first be fixed. And then we will ban homeschooling. Then we will add this program into school, and we call it a deradicalization program. And it will be mostly a de-Islamification program, but we will call it deradicalization program. This would be a program that makes sure that the children understand what Western values are, why are they important, and what are the ideas that go against them. And within this program, we will have a history of ideas segment within it. And within that segment, we will teach them in the most child-friendly way how Islamic ideas are garbage and violate these important Western values. And again, not in a way that I would describe it, in a way that is more child-friendly. But we have to make sure that we come up with the most effective way in making the kids understand how big of a threat these ideas are to Western civilization. And we need to start young. So we have that in school. And then the next thing we add to school, given now that we have access to their children and making sure that we could remove the brainwashing that they do at home, we need to have a psychological test for children at school to test for whether or not they're being brainwashed with Islamic ideas at home. Remember, it would be illegal for them not to send their children to school because we don't have homeschooling anymore. So at school, we do psychological tests, regular psychological tests on children to see if at home they're being brainwashed with either Islam or any ideas that are anti-Western values, like, for example, woke garbage. And if these psychological tests suggest that's what's happening at home, then we will have a 3-step response. First, the parents will get a warning. Then if it continues and we notice that they're still brainwashing their children with these garbage ideas, there would be a fine against the parents. Then if it persists, we get child services involved. And because we will consider this child abuse to the children, we will separate the parents from the children. You might think this is too harsh, this is bad for the children to be separated from the parents. It is not as bad as what the parents would be already doing to the children. If you're being radicalized at home with Islam or with woke poison, then as bad as it is for you to be separated from your parents, we're doing you a favor. And again, we already had 2 steps ahead of time to try to avoid this third step. Many people would say that, oh, this is too extreme. And a lot of people might also say that this is too extreme. You cannot force these Western values on children. That's nonsense. In school, there's many things that are mandatory under law. We already have under law that children need to know how to do math. Children need to know how to read and write. We already have precedent that certain values are mandatory for children to learn at school. So this would just be an addition to all of that. So this program that I'm suggesting that I don't think anybody would do has three benefits. First of all, with the people that we couldn't go after. So remember, we stopped people from coming in. We got rid of the people who were not citizens and had these garbage ideas. We got rid of some of the people who became citizens, but we managed to figure out a way to show that they are not aligned with Western values, and we got rid of them. But obviously, we will still have some people left that we couldn't get rid of. So if we can't fix them, we will fix their children, and we will save the next generation and make them assimilate with Western values. We will make them assimilate, and we will make them have values that are in line with what we want in the West. So that would be the first benefit, assimilation. The assimilation of not the parents, but the next generation. The second benefit is self-deportation, which will save us a lot of money, because as soon as you introduce this program, many of these families will just leave. Whether they're citizens or not, they will be terrified of their children becoming westernized, and they will try to avoid this, and they will leave without a cost to taxpayers. This will save us a lot of money because we don't have to pay the price associated with finding these people and deporting them. Just introducing this program will mean that they will just leave, and they will use their own monies, and they will use their own money to take themselves out. That's the second benefit. The third benefit is that it will significantly reduce migration of people with garbage ideas, because they will see that you have this and they don't want this to happen to their children, and they will just avoid coming. So you will save a lot of money from filtering, investigating, and managing migration, because people will just avoid coming here. For many of these parents, for example, I know the idea of their baby girl growing up to wear normal Western clothes and maybe having a boyfriend that is not a Muslim is worse than death. So just put that image in their mind and they will just avoid you like the plague. So there you go. That's what it takes. Would people do it? No, but that's what it takes. Come and tell me in our discussion group why I'm a radical and why this is too extreme if you disagree with me, or maybe come and tell me that, oh, this is a genius plan. Or if you agree, come and tell me that. The discussion group, the link to it is in the description. It's in the bio. It's in the QR code that you see on screen right now. Scan that. It will take you to our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there. There are so many other people there that are interested in talking about politics. So if you want to meet people who are interested in these topics, come there and talk to me and other people there. It's a really interesting group that we have created there. Leave me a comment if you think this was helpful. Those comments that tell me that these are interesting, educational, or helpful really motivates me to make more videos like this. Let me know if you're more interested in topics like this as well. I know I've been talking about what's happening in the Middle East a lot, but I'm interested in expanding our discussions here to protecting liberty globally. So let me know in the comments what you think about these topics. Should we talk more about this? My name is Armin Navabi. I'm Israel Chai. Long live America. Javid Shah. Payanderan.